Order. Pursuant to Standing Order 91-3D, I propose to extend the time of this day's committee sitting for a period of up to 30 minutes. Mr. Seah Kian Peng.
Mr. Chairman, just three clarifications, one each for Minister, MOS, and SPS. Ladies first. So, first to MOS Sun Xueling. I think we are all cheered by the fact that I guess with the revision in salaries and appreciation for preschool educators, we've seen an increase in the number entering this career. But for infant care teachers, I think I'm quite sure many of us are experiencing that there is a long wait list. There certainly is a long wait list at the preschool centers in my constituency. And therefore, my first clarification is, what can we do to make sure that, to increase the supply of infant care teachers so that it will help relieve shorten the queues for that. My second clarification to Minister, we're heartened by, the increase, the top-up of 300 million into the ComCare Endowment Fund. We know that cost of living has gone up. So my simple question is, is the review of both ComCare and public assistance scheme, when is this due? Because I think for all those who are receiving this, I think the last year in particular has been quite hard on them. And my third clarification is to SPS, Eric Chua. There was a suggestion, I think earlier, I make reference to a suggestion by Mr. Leon Pereira, where he talked about, or he suggested that we could dispense for SSOs to probably dispense or simplify the need to verify certain documents. My own take is that I think we need to be cautious about this. I would rather say and hope that instead SSOs be empowered more to exercise greater flexibility to work within the guidelines, and yet exercise flexibility on a case-by-case basis as they evaluate each of these ComCare applicants. Thank you.
MOS Sun.
I thank our member for his clarifications. We all recognize that indeed we do have a shortage of manpower in the early childhood industry. Currently, our manpower stands at 24,000 persons, and as I've mentioned in my main speech, we would need an additional 2,500 persons to join the early childhood sector by 2025. And you are right that it is in the areas of infant care educators, infant care carers, that we do face an acute shortage. So ACTA has embarked on a three-pronged approach. I have mentioned reviewing of their working conditions, ensuring competitive salaries, and also ensuring that they have good wage skills development and that there is career progression for them. Over and above these three areas, the ACTA is also working with AOPs and other preschool operators to step up recruitment through online means as well as through job fairs. We're also working with AOPs where possible for them to consider diverting their manpower internally so that there is good deployment between infant care and childcare where they are operating in the same premise. Over and above that, as I have mentioned in my main speech, we are working with the AOPs to actively reach out to both local and foreign sources of manpower. And we definitely hope that we can encourage more people to consider joining the early childhood education industry. I have mentioned that we are tapping on community networks, and these community networks are very wide. It will include PA, Daughters of Tomorrow, and also Women at Work by Mendaki. So through these combined efforts, we hope to be able to encourage more to join the early childhood education industry. Thank you.
Mr. Leon Pereira. Oh, my apologies. Minister Masagos, please.
Thank you, Chairman. The ComCare SMTA, short and medium-term assistance, and the long-term assistance were just reviewed in August 22. So we raised that from $600 to $640 and higher cash assistance for the LTA. But we must continue to monitor this current wave or increases in inflation, which is not the usual one, creeping slowly, but given the circumstances that are faced by people all over the world. We will look at this, and if the need arises, we will certainly increase the support to our ComCare recipients. Secondly, the income eligibility, we will provide an update at the end of the year. But having said that, the income eligibility are not hard thresholds, not hard thresholds, because the SSOs do have, they can assess holistically the family, their needs, because if their basic needs cannot be met, no matter what their income is presented to be, the SSOs do have the discretion to support them. And therefore, we do have flexibility exercise on a case-by-case basis.
SPS Eric Chua.
Chair, I thank the member for his suggestion and his comment. I agree, and I think I just want to go on to add that, also to add to Minister Masagos' point about the fact that the SSO GMs and staff do have some discretion, especially when giving out, quick and immediate support. That oftentimes we get feedback that, SSO applications take about 4 to 6 weeks to get approved. That is for a large percentage of all cases that comes in. But beyond that, they do get the GMs do have some discretionary funds within each SSO for them to take some quick actions as well. Thought just to add on to that.
Mr. Leon Pereira.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the points made by SPS, Mr. Eric Chua. Just one supplementary question, really, and that's in relation to the suggestions I made about significantly enhancing the SSO grant, the ComCare grant quantums in line with minimum income standard research, extending the runway perhaps to a year, and making the application process less onerous in terms of interviewing family members and documents and so on. I think my clarification would be, would the ministry be open to experimentation, doing a pilot to see whether, if we do these things and make significant changes, whether the net benefit will outweigh the risk or the downside in terms of reducing that bandwidth tax, reducing the stress, enabling that trampoline effect where families are able to plan ahead and plan a turnaround in their life, and also just improving the outcomes for the children as they go through this life that they have to go through, which they didn't choose to go through. So would the ministry be open to that? I think Professor James Lim made some similar suggestions as well. So yeah, the role of experimentation and pilots. Thank you.
Chair, I thank the member for his additional suggestions, and I think there were a couple of things that were said, quite a number of things were said. I think first off is the reference to the minimum income study. I think that has been covered in the last COS addressed by Minister Masagos. I will not go into great detail on that. I think our position on that has been clear. There has been previous press releases by Ministry of Finance as well with regards to that study. But to two other points that the member made regarding application process, I think the member also was nodding away when I was talking about Support GoWare and how ComCare applications being made easy through Support GoWare, and that's just the start of our entire journey. We are on the cusp of change in the social service delivery landscape, if I could put it that way. And I think ComCare being on Support GoWare is just one of the starting points for us in revolutionizing the delivery of social services. So that's one part of things about the ease of application for social service applications. The last point on experimentation, actually, I think the member would be very, very seized to find that actually part of ComLink is exactly about that. For us to have an area carved out that we can do policy sandboxes. So, for instance, the point about the 60 Jalan Besar families taking on this upstream approach, of course, this is more operational than policy. That, they have one point of contact for all the different services, have the befriender, the commonly engagement officer working together to make sure that what is presented in terms of an action plan to each family is coherent, it is not obfuscating to the family, it's not confusing to the family. And I think that's only the start of what we are looking at. But essentially, a part of Comlink's DNA is about daring to do new things, policy-wise as well. And I think some of these moves will be gradually reviewed as some of the details are being worked out. So I urge members to watch the space for announcements related to Comlink.
Ms. Carrie Tan.
Thank you. I'd like to direct my question to SPS Eric. I think to commend MSF for taking on this very bold experiment. I feel like Comlink is almost like undertaking a massive endeavor that is similar to what I think social service agencies might do. So my question is, does the Comlink program have headcounts within MSF that play a dedicated volunteer management role? Yes, that's my question. I might ask, depending on the answer, I might ask further. Thank you.
SPS Eric Chua. Depending on your answers, you may get more questions.
I'm fully aware of that. Thank the member for her question. I think the short answer is there's never enough manpower. But the longer answer is that behind each befriender, we are not leaving the befriender to do their job, his or her job alone. So in my speech, I said the befriender will put things together almost like a character from Mission Impossible, harnessing things in a coherent plan for the family, having great knowledge of the different schemes and programs, both on the government side of the house and the community side of the house, and present a coherent plan to the family in view, to the family. He or she is supported by a Comlink engagement officer, the CEO, yes, who is a staff of the SSO. So the short answer and the longer answer is actually yes. The befrienders are supported by these so-called professionals at the SSO behind the scenes. But as I mentioned in my speech, today we have more than 700 befrienders. There's a certain type that we look for in a befriender. And Ms. Carrie Tan being in this sector for a long time, you would know that we want those who are big-hearted, red-blooded, and have a big heart for Comlink families to be able to journey with them for the long haul, because we are not talking about volunteering for ad hoc occasions. We are talking about going at it for months and sometimes perhaps even for a couple of years at least with each family, understanding them in depth, and then proposing and perhaps nudging and working through with these families as equals, of course, on the situations that they're in. So I feel that the bar for the befrienders is also high, and I think we if anything, I would really make a clarion call out to more to step up to be befrienders. And thanks for highlighting this issue on manpower as well. Thank you.
I'll come back to you, Ms. Tan. Ms. Ng Ling Ling.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is also for SPS Eric. Around the shelter workshops, 3 questions. One is, how long is the wait list? The second question is, what kind of jobs are the additional 100 over places that you mentioned that would be added this year? And thirdly, how else can the business sector help so that our persons with disability have a highest chance to stay engaged? Thanks.
Chair, I thank the member for her clarification. I think she would agree with me that actually the shelter workshops environment is very much suitable and amenable to persons with intellectual disability, not so much for persons with autism. And this additional 100 spaces that we are talking about would be, the type of jobs that we typically can find in a shelter workshop. But alongside this, what is happening behind the scenes is also the fact that we are trying to review some of the service models to see how we can change up the way shelter workshops are being organized, what they can do or what they cannot do, or what they could do in future. So we are trying to future-proof or move the shelter workshop model into a more advanced stage. And we welcome corporates to have a conversation with us because it's only by understanding where business needs are, understanding where persons with disabilities needs, as well as the caregivers' needs are, and forming these few, pieces together, and that overlap in the Venn diagram, that's the sweet spot that we want to land. And I think that's exactly the harder piece of work that we are trying to work at behind the scenes right now. So I don't have a ready answer, but I welcome, I thank the member for shining the light on this part of work that we are doing. Thank you.
Ms. Carrie Tan.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. I would like to continue this conversation with SPS Eric because I have no doubt that the befrienders are currently supported by very technically sound and competent MSF officers. But I think it kind of like misses the point because volunteer management actually requires someone with a very wide variety of skill sets, including being a cheerleader, a peer support facilitator for the volunteers, strong in comms so that they can continuously share stories, uplifting stories, help to boost their morale, listen to them, sometimes be an agony aunt because befrienders themselves could be impacted by the stories that they see. And I don't think that this is something or a role that can be underestimated. And hence, I think it is critically important, especially if we want to ramp up the number of volunteer befrienders, that we have people with the right background, experience, and expertise to actually do this well for ComLink to be able to be implemented well. Thank you.
SPS Eric Chua.
I think my mobile phone charm isn't working very well. So to the point that the member raised, I think I fully agree with her that actually a wide range of skill sets are needed. And again, I go back to my center of gravity earlier about the roles of the befriender vis-a-vis the role of the ComLink engagement officer. Now, before the ComLink engagement officer comes to where he or she is in the SSO, I'm sure he or she goes through a rigorous set of training, under the ambit of the social service office before he or she gets to where he or she is serving. But I just want to expand a little bit more about what the befrienders actually go through, because to me, the befriender is the first touch point for our ComLink families. And what we have actually done is to make sure that the befrienders are committed, but they go through also a full training curriculum with the SSOs, but these are organized. This training are actually, there's a training roadmap for our ComLink befrienders, which includes topics like understanding the social service landscape in Singapore, family and domestic violence awareness training, and also ComLink befriending training, which is tiered into 2 different levels, Tier 1, Tier 2. So all that, those components about do's and don'ts for home visits, befriending philosophy, building rapport, sensing needs, nudging families. Our befrienders are trained as part of this curriculum in those competencies and skill sets. So on that end, I assure the member that actually, the befrienders are well equipped to actually take on the challenges in being a part of this. I agree with her, this mammoth and gargantuan endeavor to really make a change in this rental flats family landscape.
Ms. Joan Pereira.
Thanks, Chairman. On ComLink, to be more effective, I think we need to have more information sharing. I mentioned this in my speech earlier. Can I ask SPS if this is being done now? And if so, how do we facilitate more of this, or rather, how can we help our SSO so that it is facilitated across all the various agencies and it will be more helpful in their job? Thank you.
So in terms of the planning that goes on behind the scenes, the ComLink Alliance Work Group, that is actually the sort of steering committee for each town, actually meets very frequently, monthly. So we have 21 of such leads that are really leading the efforts in each of the 21 towns. In terms of how we connect with the different partners within the community, this is a central node. And we do involve the other, visceral parts of the ecosystem as well. So for instance, the volunteer centers under MCCY SG Cares, they too feature very strongly in Comlink because they are a good source of new volunteers, that might be interested, that might want to be a part of this Comlink journey. So those typical nodes that you find in the community landscape in each town, so for instance, the grassroots, they are also plugged in to this Comlink Alliance work group. In terms of how we reach out to each member, I think we also give regular updates via email, and feel free to actually approach me as well because I'm actually in charge of the Comlink that is part of Henderson Dawson. So feel free to reach out for updates on those information. But where there are programs and initiatives that you think are worthy of, propagating across, not just across the Comlink town, but it can be something that can be shared across towns, which is what we have done. What we have done is, MSF colleagues have helped to create a buffet of different offerings of academic programs, of co-sporting programs. But for instance, Sport SG has this Sport Cares program that reaches out to rental flat families through football, basketball, and all that. And that's put on a list that is shared with all Comlink committees. So in that sense, the information sharing has been ongoing, has been very much behind the scenes, but I think we can do more to actually bring it forward to all who are involved on the ground.
Any further clarifications from members? If not, Mr. Seah, do you wish to withdraw your cut?
Mr. Chairman, it's been a long week. It's Friday and it's 8:15. First, on behalf of all of us who raised cuts at this COS debate for Head I would like to thank Minister Masagos, Minister of State Sun Xueling, Senior Pausec Eric Chua for their comprehensive and considered replies to all our questions. Likewise, I think I speak for all as to express our sincere appreciation to all those in the social service sector for their big heart, for their care, for their compassion, and for their patience as we all journey together to make Singapore a more caring, more inclusive, and more giving community. With that, sir, I'd like a back leave to withdraw my amendment.
Is the honourable member given leave to withdraw the amendment? I think leave of the majority is given. The amendment is withdrawn. The question is that the sum of $4,061,739,900 for Head I stand part of the main estimates. As many as are of that opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that the sum of $103,868,000 for Head I stand part of the development estimates. As many as are of that opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Minister Masagos, would you like to report progress?
Chairman, may I seek your consent to move that progress be reported now and leave be asked to sit again on Monday, 6 March 2023.
I give my consent.
Chairman, I beg to move that progress be reported now and leave be asked to sit again on Monday, 6 March 2023.
The question is that progress be reported now and leave be asked to sit again on Monday, 6 March 2023. As many as are of that opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of Supply has made progress on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2023-2024 and ask to leave to sit again on Monday, 6 March 2023.
So be it. Leader?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, just a small point of order before I move to adjourn. This is in reference to Ms. Tan's reference to her conversation with SPS, Mr. Eric Chua. I just wish to remind members that in the chamber, we do not have conversations. In the Committee of Supply, we seek clarifications to which the relevant political office holder will respond. Just saying. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that Parliament do now adjourn to Monday, 6 March 2023.
The question is that Parliament do now adjourn to Monday, 6 March 2023. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.